Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's Christine Parakis on the Career Invincibility Show. I am so excited about this guest I get to introduce you to. SHELITA Burke is a pop artist, data scientist, skydiver, and tech entrepreneur. She's trailblazed in adopting new technologies, including blockchain, and shown the world a new artist-centric model. It's an extraordinary thing that she's created for her own music career, taking her last EP, Special, to over 20 million streams and reaching number 24 on Billboard, and a song from her critically acclaimed self-titled album, Shelita, that won the Best Female Vocal Performance at the 2019 Hollywood Music and Media Awards, and also the year prior won the Best Singer-Songwriter at the HMMAs. And she's toured all over the world with 150 shows across Europe, Asia, and Africa, as well as the U.S. And coming from Seattle, SHELITA has beaten the odds and reached the pinnacle of success independently without a major record label behind her. She is so amazing. She has the ability to connect with her audiences, win her accolades from the press, as well as hundreds of thousands of fans, and has appeared in the major U.S. press and media, including Forbes, NPR, Billboard, MTV, and many industry tastemakers. Her single, Penetrate, rose to number 14 on Billboard with a viral response and social media impressions reaching over 40 million people, remember, without a record label. And I've seen her drop out of a plane over the pyramids in Egypt. So these days she's spending a lot of time in the sky. SHELITA, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here.
So, I mean, you have such a vast journey. Back when we first met, I was hearing about your incredible road from Microsoft into music and these many things of, disruption and the strategies you've used that were groundbreaking at the time and probably still. And, to this day. So please tell us a bit about your journey. We'd love to hear both the zigs and the zags that get you to where you are today.
Okay. So I'll start it from the beginning. So I started singing in the church choir. It was my first job ever at the tender age of 7. And I loved music. I loved singing. I loved writing songs. And from that, I learned, oh my gosh, like there's this whole world of computing. And I saw at a young age, before I could even know how to code or build a computer, that the internet was the future. And so I thought to myself, if I can master the internet, then I have a chance in terms of connecting to a large audience, connecting to people global, because I saw the internet as a global enterprise. And so when I turned 8, I learned how to code so I can build my own websites and start building avenues for my fans to collect information about me, to get new music, to know where my concerts were. And I did my own websites before I joined any social media, like any social media companies. I actually had my own website first, and I got everybody's contact info with their permission with my website, started an email list. And at an early age, I started getting contracts to do other people's websites and to build out server networks. I believe in having your own internet. When you have your own internet, you have freedom. A lot of people are reliant on other internet enterprises because they don't know how to set up their own internet. They don't know how to set up their own servers. And once you take the power back into your own hands, have your own server, your own setup, then you have you basically have no one that can basically shut you down, because you are the owner of your own internet traffic. You are the owner of your own enterprise. And I believe in that. I believe in freedom, and I believe in everyone's right to speak freely about what they believe in. And the way you'll be able to do that is if you own your own servers, if you own your own traffic, if you own your own presence online, and you own your own narratives. You can own your own narrative by writing music, even if you're not a musician. You own your own narratives. Like, I really believe in that. And, so I got into doing my own server networks because I wanted to know exactly how I can create my own internet. So I did that. And then I landed some contracts with Microsoft, started working for Microsoft while I was still on tour for music. The one awesome thing about Microsoft upon many is they let you work from home. And because I could work from home, I gave them 8 to 10 hours of my time, and then I would play a concert at night. And I could do that around the world because I was working from home. And I loved that. It was back when people didn't really work from home in tech jobs because they had to be in person to meetings, in person to a lot of things. And I convinced the people at Microsoft to let me work from home. And I made a really engaging case why I should work from home and why I will be more productive working from home than coming into the office every day. And they agreed. And from there, I got the opportunity to move to Paris, France. I chose Paris, France because, sorry, that's airplanes in the background.
I know, it's so perfect. It's so on brand for you. I love it. Literally just jumped out of the sky, landed, and got on with us. So you're hearing it live, people. Well, I mean, it's an extraordinary thing that you were able to take that experience, but also get your music out without the backing of a major record label in places that people never even thought of and in ways that nobody knew was even possible. I mean, you're a groundbreaker in that arena. So talk to us about that, because it's translatable. You don't have to be a music artist necessarily to break into these markets, do you?
Yes, that is correct. However, the labels do have a place of their own. However, a lot of people think that you can't do it without a label. And there are ways to connect to fans, get to mass audience without a label. Not to say that labels are bad or anything like that, but there are alternative ways to use based on your mission and what your goals are as an artist. And when it comes to looking at the global marketplace, I've always seen music as a global marketplace because, the first thing you do when you come out the womb is you hear first. And in that way, music is very powerful because we have hearing first. Hearing is so important. Music is so important. Music is healing. Music is everything at the same time, and it's different vibrations. And when you look at the global marketplace, one of the things that you can see is there are places that big pop stars do not really go because they don't really have a big music market in those places around the world. And so you can look at those countries, and when you come into their world, you tour in their countries where they're not used to getting really big pop stars, you're like a king or queen in their marketplace. And they're very happy to see you. They're very happy to see something different. And it's all about identifying the opportunities where if everybody else is going left, you go right. Like you definitely don't want to follow the latest trends. You want to make your own trends. And you want to start with the mission and the aim that you have as the storytelling you want to give to the world, the mission that you have in the world. I think everything should be starting from the central place of what is your global mission. When you do attract a huge audience of millions of people, if not billions of people, what do you want to say? And are you saying that right now? And if you're not saying that right now, why are you not saying that right now? Why is that not a part of your brand right now? What's stopping you from that? And it's asking these questions repeatedly until you have the answers. And then once you get to that point where you are connecting to millions of people and billions of people, what's next? What are you going to do with that power? How does that help you change the world? And it's not about world change, then what is it about? Is it narcissistic tendencies where you just want fame for, very selfish reasons? Or are you in the we game, which is what I'm in? It's like a we philosophy. We do this together. Versus the self. I'm not against being an individual. However, I do believe in the we of humanity. And I think that it's important for us to start thinking about what is our mission? What do we represent in the world? And even if you have an audience of only 50 people, how are you influencing those 50 people in telling them about your world mission to change the world? To make this a better place for everybody. It starts with one person, the many to all. And there's no ego when it comes to thinking about the masses in terms of real world change. Like you can take your ego and keep it outside the door because you don't need that. when it comes to world change, you know? And when you keep on asking these questions, okay, once I get to my world mission, the world change I'm trying to represent in the world, the what's next, and you just keep saying what's next after that and what's next after that, you tend to get to a very universal place that we all inhabit when we don't think about limitations. Basically, even narcissistic people, when you ask them about worldview and you really dive deep into it, you'll find that, wow, there's a person inside of that person that actually cares about love. They care about abundance. And although they don't see it, they care about abundance for all. And, it's just about connecting to that greater potential and not seeing the limits, not seeing the obstacles, because the obstacles are roadblocks that are there to test you and there to make you strong. Like there's grass in the ground. And if there was something that, that exists called the wind was not there, then all the grass would be weak, and I see that as humanity. And there's a lot of obstacles in life, and that's a repetitive pattern. And we can break this pattern by being more conscious, by being more aware of love, by being more aware of helping others and not just yourself, and really being selfless in that action. For instance, music in general and to me is a very selfless action because it takes a lot of moving parts and a lot of people to create one song that gets recorded and put out to the world. There's so many human beings involved in that enterprise. And once that music is out to the world, it has the aspect of changing the world. It really does, based on the intentions and the vibration that was set when you're creating those songs, when the person hears those songs and how it lives in their life and how important it becomes to them. And so I think that music is a world change vehicle. And also your voice, just your talking voice, like what you're doing, Christina, like what you're doing in your podcast and your show, like you're using your voice to connect to others, to expand awareness. And that's a very powerful thing, and it shouldn't be taken lightly.
Well, thank you for that. And, it's a co-creation, right? Because that's my vision, is to bring on extraordinary people like you to be able to connect us all, right? So there is no me, there's no you, you're out creating, I'm out creating, but it's what brings us all together, and to know that we're not alone in our endeavors as well. I've marvel at watching you in your skydiving career. Now it's really become that. As a dabbler in skydiving myself, it was my dream when I was young, and I've done it. It looks like a singular activity, but what you've taken it to is a whole different level. And I have to feel somehow that they must be related. Your vision for music and your work in skydiving. Talk to us about that.
Well, they are definitely related. When I'm in free fall and skydiving, I come up with so many different ideas for songs. And sometimes I'm writing a song in my head on the airplane while I'm waiting to go up and jump out of that airplane. And skydiving has actually made me a better musician.
Wow.
Because beautiful. I was scared of heights. And, I was in Jamaica 2 years ago, and I was doing cliff diving. And I was very afraid to jump off those cliffs. And it took me 2 hours to do my first cliff dive. 2 hours. I was standing on the ledge with tons of people behind me for 2 hours because I couldn't get over the fact that I'm going to jump into this deep water at this really high cliff. And, I finally got over the fear and I did it, but I was still afraid of heights. When I got into my first airplane to skydive, I had 3 seconds on the ledge before we jumped out. 1, 2, 3, and you're out of the plane. And by doing that, I overcame my fear of heights. And when I overcame my fear of heights, I thought about consciously, what about my biology is preventing me from taking the step to go off this